And hello and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. As always, I am your host Joel. And wait 1 second for me, Matt. I'm trying to get good with the kids, with the young people. Our core demo. I'm trying to do that gender swapped face thing from the new Snappity chats that the kids love so
Oh, is
much.
is that what that is? Is that why I'm seeing all these really weird photos on Twitter and Facebook?
That's the one. I did it, and to my great surprise, when I did it, I looked like my mom 20 years ago. You see, Matt, I am blessed with these soft feminine features. Cursed with them, really. I can't get away from them. The truly funny thing is that my mom also did the male version of it, and she probably looked like what I'm probably going to look like in 20 years. So, it's good to know at least, get
Yeah,
ready
yeah.
for it. How's your week been, Matt?
Pretty good, pretty good. I've been trying to catch up on all my reviews, and again, I've
Yeah.
fallen behind.
It was a lighter week this week. Thankfully, I might actually get to catch up on Punisher and make that into a video.
Yeah, ooh, Punisher's been good.
Yeah, so I've heard. I'm really excited for it. I want to read it because I know the next arc is going to be him versus Kingpin.
Yeah.
But yeah, same for me. Taking care of stuff in the house. I know when last time we talked, I had sink issues. Those sink issues have gotten a little better, but a little worse. It's a whole thing.
You became your own plumber there for a minute.
Yeah, yeah, and then I realized, well, this job is too big for me. Time to pass this up. Also, I live in a condo, but it was just a matter of like, well, if I do take it to the maintenance guy, is it going to be like, are they going to spend time ripping up my walls? Are they going to be in my place? I don't want
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to be like, hey, maintenance guys, can you shut up? I need to talk about what Spider-Man did this week. Very important people online very much want to know what I think about what Batman did. Yeah, I know, right? I can't believe it's my job either. Now, please stop working with your hands so I can talk into this microphone. But yeah, that's been me. We got a decent little assortment of news, I would say. Again, seems like a lot of Marvel topics right now, but then we can talk about what we read, and it feels like it's been a bit since we've talked about what we read.
It has been a while.
Yeah, with all these new movies and shows and commentaries and everything else that's been going on.
Yeah.
This will actually be a fairly long little stretch of time we have in between actually not having to go to the movies and see a new comic book movie.
Yeah, not until 1st of June.
Not until the oh, is that Phoenix? Is Phoenix in June?
That's Spider-Man.
I thought Spider-Man was in July.
It's like the last week of July, 1st of June for me.
Bro, that's right, because you're in wacky Australia that gets it at different times. Oh man, speaking of that, did you see the fan? Again, I'm sorry I'm blanking on your name right now and I can't look for it. Who did the great little mock-up of the cantina scene from A
Yeah.
New Hope, where it's like we
Yes.
don't serve your kind here, and it's the DC and Hulu app, and it's the Canadian and Australian flag over R2 and C3PO. Loved it to death. If ever you do a fan art thing or a fan mock up, even if it's bad, we will talk about it on the show because we are, if nothing else, super self interested. That's the best way. I keep thinking, I'll know we've really made it when we get like a fan animation.
Yeah, yeah.
All my favorite podcasts have what is it, TV tropes pages and fan animations. We used to have a TV tropes page when we worked at Name Redacted, but the comic multiverse does not have one, and we can't make one, fans. You have to make it for us. That's way it's official.
Oh, someone have to get on that.
Someone will have to get on that again. That's your homework this week, everyone. You thought you were just listening to the show for shits and giggles, but now you're getting homework assignments. And I want that on my desk by Friday there, Parker. That and pictures of Spider-Man. But yeah, so should we hop into the news this week, Matt?
Let's hop into the news.
So this first topic I was almost not even going to bring up because I hate when people boil down art and especially art in comics to numbers and facts and and figures and all this other stuff because it's like we're supposed to be talking about art here. We're supposed to be creatives, and when people are like, "Oh, but look at this sales data here. Look at these numbers." That always makes me feel sad because it's like, dude, if I wanted to work with numbers, I'd be a fucking banker. I'd go into statistics or something. But this was a very interesting statistics. This was a very interesting piece of numbers here, and obviously something that deals with us quite a bit because more than one person sent this story to me, and that is apparently the Immortal Hulk, as of its last issue there, actually outsold Batman.
Yeah. Who would have thought, you know? Who would have thought?
Ooh, which, on one hand, it's like it deserves to, because Al Ewing is doing an amazing job in Immortal Hulk. That book is kicking ass. It's just, strength after strength. He was up for an Eisner actually for it, and this year, and that was very well deserved.
Yeah, I had to drop off on it once the Avengers sort of came into it, just because I had so many comics on the go. But
Understand?
yeah, I've been keeping an eye on it as it's been going, and man, it's just been so cool to see like a
Wonderful.
Hulk comic actually do well.
It's an easy shoe-in for like one of my best of the year. Like it
Mm,
got there so super early. But yeah, Batman, that has got to be embarrassing
yeah.
because even the worst Batman related comics sell really well. And to think that the flagship Batman book, a book that I think is also up for an Eisner, or at least its creator is up for an
Ugh.
Eisner. I don't know if it's Batman that's up for it, or if it was Heroes in Crisis or whatever it was, but still, that's got to be rough because the common wisdom was at DC where it's like, look, you can get a prima donna creator, you can get a creator that ignores continuity, but so long as they stop selling X amount every month, it will be time to be shooed away because that's just how business is done at DC. Maybe not.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe after these 100 issues.
Hmm. Well, again, that's what he always said, that it was a 100-issue story arc, a story arc that could only be told in 100 issues.
Yeah, really? No, it couldn't. It could have been told in probably 12.
Mhm. As all his best work is, but that's neither here nor there. We're just saying this isn't so much to crap on Tom King and our general distaste for a lot of what he's doing, more to celebrate and boost Immortal Hulk and be like, yo, good for you, Immortal Hulk, good for you, Al Ewing.
Yeah, if you're not reading it, go read it. It is really great.
You should. I think like the first two volumes are out in trade right now, and they're
Yep.
really great.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of Marvel, we had another piece of news here. 98 creators so far have been named. I should actually call that 98 creative teams because it's writers and artists together,
Hmm.
have been announced for Marvel's Big August project, which it was a little up in the air what the Big August project is, but now we know officially that it's going to be for a special comic called Marvel 1000, which is how they're going to be celebrating their 80th year anniversary.
Yeah, I I'm interested, but also kind of a little disappointed because like they built that
Yeah,
up, and I probably like hyped myself up too much because I was thinking, oh,
we
is this
did.
going to be like a reboot or something, or like are they like
A new line of books.
yeah, are they doing like a new Ultimates or something, or
Oh, yeah.
is this are they like rebranding all the books again? Like what's going on? But yeah, issue 1,000, like it seems like they're just trying to capitalize on the whole like action comics, detective comics sort of thing,
Yeah.
because there's no
Yeah.
1,000 issue of something yet.
No,
Like it doesn't
no,
make sense.
they're just doing it to celebrate an anniversary. And also too, where it's like, well, if you got 98 creative teams, does that mean everyone gets one page?
Yeah, that very strange. Like how big is it going to be? A 300-page book? Is what is it? A
I mean,
1,000-page book?
I'd be fine with that. And they announced some
Yeah.
really amazing teams there. Jeff Lemire is coming back
Hmm.
with one of his collaborators that he's always working with. They got the Savage Dragon guy, Eric Larson's gonna be there. They got like basically everyone who's working in comics is doing
Well,
something for this.
not only just in comics, they've got the basketball player Kareem
Kareem
Abdul-Jabbar
Jabbar, yes,
and
and
Phil
Lord and
Lord.
Miller.
Yeah, Lord and Miller doing comics. Like that's awesome.
It really is. And, that makes me think that they were totally the right people for Sony to pick to oversee their Spider-Man
Yeah,
universe.
yeah.
Because it's like, dude, how many executive like big heads, running whole movie franchises, how many of them not only get asked to write a comic, but really want to be involved in the comics? I think that really lets you know that shit's in the right hands.
Yeah, oh, definitely, definitely. I am excited, except I was a little bit disappointed with what it was
Mhm.
going to be. I thought it was going to be a little bit more than that.
Well, you know what? I'm sure too. This is like a situation too where this is like them kind of polling their audience, where it's like, okay, whichever like one page, whichever creative team gets the best feedback and gets talked about a bunch, maybe we'll think about floating a book their way. Probably.
Yeah, I imagine that's probably what the main reason, apart from the 80th anniversary, this book is it's polling everyone. It's like, okay, who wants these writers on these characters? And then maybe later on in the year we'll get something.
Because this is the way we do stuff now in the age of Twitter and Instagram and social media. We don't put out polls anymore. We put out things and let people kind of do the work for us in a way.
Yep.
Where it's like, what's got the best retention? What is everyone talking about? Monday morning, or I guess Thursday morning, because that's when comics come out.
Yeah.
Or the day after comics come out, I should say. But that's interesting. Well, I'm sure Matt and I will definitely be covering this on our channel. Hope it's good. Hope it's interesting.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it will be. But yeah, so that's that, everyone. Now, what do we have next here on our news? Oh, here's a pretty interesting one. Some sites were saying it's confirmed, but other sites were tentatively saying he's just in talks. But apparently, Michael Rooker might very well be stepping into the, I was going to say shoes, but he doesn't wear shoes, flippers of King Shark for Suicide Squad 2. And wouldn't that just be nutty and fun?
That would be nutty and fun. And I remember when we first started talking about Gunn Suicide Squad, I'm sure we talked about Rooker in a role as something.
Who's he gonna play?
Yeah,
because he's been in all of his movies. Gunn just casts his friends and his brother and everyone else over and over again.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. I'd really look forward to seeing him as King Shark. That'd be really interesting. It would be interesting as well to find out what version of King Shark he'll be using.
Yeah, are we doing the Hawaiian god thing? Are we doing the, experiment thing? There's a lot of ways you could go with it. Also, too, King Shark being in the movie lets me kind of flex my big nerd dick a little bit and be like, King Shark was only in the new 52 version of the Suicide Squad because he was very popular in Gail Simone's Secret Six version. Most of the panels and memes you know and like are actually from that book. And DC post Flashpoint wanted to placate the fans by being like, no, he's here too. See, we know how popular he is. King Shark had also been on the team once before when they had an adventure with Superboy in Hawaii, but it was actually very short-lived, so I'll just show myself out now. I must heat up a hot pocket, don't you know? But yeah, I think Rooker as King Shark would be really cool because he's just a funny guy with great acting ability. I hope he does it, and I hope he does the motion capture for it too. I hope they put gray pajamas with all the little buttons on them. God, what interview was it I was listening to where Rooker talks about he has a bunch of stalkers, so he carries a gun everywhere he goes.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that too. Yeah.
Maybe I don't even think Rooker was telling that. It might have been Sean Gunn or someone close to him who's like, oh yeah, man, Rooker's intense, man. He has a gun on him at all times because of stalkers.
Even if it wasn't for stalkers and you just said Rooker has a gun on him, I'd be like, yeah, I can see that.
Sounds about right. And also too, this is pre-Guardians of the Galaxy, pre-Yondu and everything too. He had stalkers. I'm like, he had stalkers from what? Friggin'
Walking Dead.
Yeah, from Walking Dead and shit. I'm like, wow.
I imagine people probably, it wasn't really fans, it was probably people that hated his character on that. Because I remember watching it in those early seasons when the show was good. His character was so fucking hateable.
Oh god, he really was. Which is funny because Rooker in real life is so lovable.
Yeah.
Just charming as shit. He's the kind of guy who could steal your girlfriend at a con and he'd be like, Rooker, Rooker. Gotta love him. But yeah, that's the Michael Rooker news. Hope it's true. I we're actually hearing a lot of casting news from James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie. It sounds like it's really coming along, and it sounds like it's going to be super fucking cool.
Yeah, with this, it's coming out before Guardians of the Galaxy 3, so it's got to be coming very soon.
Yeah, which, man, can you believe that in this weird shakeup where it's oh, you get both. You get Guardians 3 and you get a good Suicide Squad sequel, probably.
Yeah.
Everyone won in that scenario. Also, too, I wonder if James Gunn, because he's working for both companies now, I wonder whenever he shows up the set, everyone just, wants dirt on the other guys. Yeah, well, what are they doing at the other set? Is their catering better than ours? Tell us, James. Is their catering better? Does their president not keep changing every couple months? They hit us over here at the Warner Brothers lot. It's true. It happens. Now, from that story to one that's actually a little weird, apparently Dark Horse has signed a deal with Netflix to start producing shows, but no shows have actually been named yet.
Yeah, it's almost like they regret losing all their hero shows and need something else. Like,
We need something to fill the void. What's a comic company? Dark Horse. Netflix, you do know Dark Horse's most famous comics are stuff they write that are owned by other people, right? Fuck!
yeah, God damn it, not again.
You mean we can't have Buffy? No, no, you can't have that. Someone else owns that shit.
Can we have Hellboy? No, no, you can't have Hellboy. God damn it.
What about Alien? Can we have Alien and Predator? Again, owned by other people. What about Judge Dredd? Aren't you working on a Judge Dredd show already? We don't remember.
It's funny about Alien. It's like we can do Alien, but it's owned by Disney now. It's like God damn it.
God damn it. Yeah, like I feel like they're just like, what's the next biggest comic company we can buy?
Yeah, it'll be. I imagine they'll probably be doing like the lesser known stuff from Dark Horse, like what they did with like Umbrella Academy and stuff like that.
I'm looking here right now for stuff they own. Colder, Southern Cross, these are things I've passed in the comic shop and been like, oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah, okay. I'm
They
not
used
sure what exactly they and I think Umbrella Academy was Dark Horse.
right at some point, and that obviously did big for them. So they're like, hey, what else you got?
Yeah, and I think Dark Horse, it's either Dark Horse or Image that do make the Stranger Things comic.
Right, interesting. So they probably already got an in with that company.
Yeah, it would be very interesting. I'd like to see something like a Black Hammer uh,
Right, yeah.
show. That'd be really cool. Or maybe because the movie fucking bombed, they might be able to do something with Hellboy. I think Hellboy will probably work easier on TV.
It would be better on TV, make it like a creature of the week type thing.
Yeah.
Again, I'm looking at all of Dark Horse's stuff. Terminator, no, they can't do that. Mystery Science Theater 3000, you already do that.
American Gods is already a TV show on Amazon
God,
Prime.
God damn it, why did we buy this?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I can imagine they're probably like, "Oh, we bought this comic company. We've got all these comics. Half of them are already being made, and half we can't actually make."
Man, I can't wait to, start, what is it, to start doing this Terminator show. Again, no. Sorry. And if people in the comment section, because I'm sure they do, are more knowledgeable of Dark Horse's back catalog than we are, please in the comment section down below tell us, what Dark Horse thing would you like to see adapted? What thing have we probably heard of? Because again, as I'm looking here, it's just stuff from other people. Oh, what about Conan? Can we have Conan again? Marvel and getting a huge push. But what about Dark Matter? Sure, why not? James Bond. Does anyone own the rights to James Bond?
No, I can't think of anyone who would own the rights to them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Ooh, they also own the rights to the Critical Role comic. I forgot about that. Hey, can they make a show out of Critical Role? I like that show.
Make a show that's based on a comic that's based on a show.
Yep, that's based on a show. Hell, can Netflix just like put up Critical Role episodes, just like the whole 4 hours of voice actors playing D&D? I bet it would be more popular than you think.
It probably would. I've been watching that new Relics and Rarities show with Deborah Ann Wall, and it's really good.
She's good. She's really good in general. Like, holy crap, she is multifaceted and talented. I haven't started watching that because I'm watching Critical Role. I'm listening to Anthony Birch's D&D stream, and I still got to go back and listen to more Adventure Zone. I don't have room for any more D&D shows.
She's a really good DM.
I imagine so. I'm also working on writing my own too, so don't be shocked if that comes out in the near future.
Nice.
Joel might be working on something right now. How can I kill all my players? Yeah, I thought that was interesting. And from one story about a comic company to another story about a comic company, and this one kind of hits close to me because I've actually had dealings with the latter on this one that went nowhere, and I think I know why they went nowhere now. But Oni, God damn it. Sorry, something in my throat. I just had a miniature stroke there. Hope you don't mind. Oni, otherwise known as Oni Press, made big news ripples this week because it announced that they are going to be merging with Lions Forge, which Lines Forge you may have heard of if you've listened to this show before, because they make that Rolled and Told book I quite like, and also
Mm-hmm.
they were taking on Gail Simone to be a big creative executive
Yeah.
and to oversee a bunch of their new books. I actually talked to their president for a little bit, maybe former president now, maybe a couple presidents ago, about maybe trying to do some work, because I'm like, oh, whoa, if they're making big moves like that, surely they got some big stuff coming down the pipeline. But yeah, that was a president ago, and now they're merging with Oni. Although merging is kind of finger quotes, because I follow a lot of the creators on social media, and it sounds less like Lions Forge is being folded into Oni and more like Oni ate up this company.
Oh no.
Yeah, a lot of people who work there sounds like they're not gonna keep their jobs,
Ah, no.
and we're still, it's like, okay, we bought your company, who wants to move to Portland now, because you all have to move to Portland now, because that's, I guess, where Oni is based. And I'm like, ooh, that's not good. In fact, I think the woman who's behind Rolled and Told, because well, actually it's a collective because it's a bunch of people, but the main one, yeah, I don't think she works there anymore. And I'm like, oh, that blows. And volume 1 of that book is just coming out like this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bad scene, because yeah, it basically just feels like Oni ate up this company. And I know for people who like don't read Oni and were unaware of Lions Forge, this will probably go over like a ship in the night, passing never to be seen. But still, that's the news about that. You know, hearts go out to the people who work there. You know, Lions Forge seemed like a cool company with interesting ideas, and they were doing stuff different, and they weren't trying to beat Marvel and DC at their own game. They were just trying to fill voids that didn't exist. And I hope that whoever stays behind will continue to do that.
Yeah, yeah. It's sad when you hear like a little company like that just get like eaten up by like a big company. We've seen it all the time with like
Oh
EA
yeah.
eating up all these
Hmm.
small, really great companies, and
Robbing
yeah,
them of their personality.
yeah, taking away that artistic creativity and just making them make whatever like the usual, just normal stuff
Oh yeah.
without being
And
creative or anything on it.
oh, what's this? In other news just coming in, Netflix has also bought Oni Lions Forge now. No new word of what shows they're going to be making, but they're going to be making something. They realized the Dark Horse acquisition was maybe not as good as they thought. Who has stuff we can own? Damn it! But yeah, so that's the news for this week, everyone. A little good, a little bad, a little in between. But you know, it led to some good conversation, did it not?
Yeah.
So I guess from there we can hop on over to what we read this week. And admittedly, was a lighter week this week, and I gotta say thank God for that, because I've just been buried up to my goddamn eyeballs and stuff the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still going through comics from like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Likewise, I just finished Daredevil #4
Oh
tonight.
no.
I know, right? I know. I put out a poll. I'm like, look, do people want Miss Marvel, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, or Daredevil #4? And most people said Daredevil #4. And I'm like, all right, it's coming out then. Which is funny, because I think between those three of those books, they're books I love immensely and intensely with a passion, but they're ones that always underperform on my channel. So this was like,
Yeah.
all right, of all the books that underperform, who wants it? Who wants it more? And I know there was a couple people who voted on that poll where they're like, but I love all three of these things equally. I know, right? I'm making you Sophie's choice right now. That's why I'm asking you fans to do it, because I can't do it. But yeah, where would we like to start this week, Matt?
Well, we had a bunch of new number 1s this week.
Did we?
Yeah, we had a couple. The first one being Batman and the Outsiders issue 1.
Did not read it because I was still bumming on the Detective Comics story that launched this.
It was pretty good. It follows that story with Karma and all that sort of stuff. With the team, the Outsiders, led by Jefferson Pierce as Black Lightning, not wanting to be a team. They think of it as a sort of an R&R away from Batman, and Jefferson
Right.
is only looking after them because Batman doesn't want to. Sort of stuff
Which
like
I
that.
hated about that story, that Batman was like, all right, sidekicks, fuck off. I don't want to take care of you
They lean
anymore.
into that. They lean into that in here,
Do
and
they?
like, well, Jefferson actually says that, like you've put this team together because you don't want to have to deal with them. And Bruce is like, look, yes, but also I'm dealing with a lot of stuff right now. If I don't have it on myself. I can't give them the time because I need to work something out for myself. We're not sure what that is though, and I don't know
Yeah,
whether that's a reference to like the Batman ongoing or something.
which of the several horrible things Batman is
Yeah.
dealing with right now? Is it Bane trying to break his mind? Is it the Batman who laughs, turning him into a toxic monster? Is it the Arkham Knight? Is it what's happening in Justice League? Which million things are you dealing
Yeah.
with, Batman? Is this
Maybe
alluding
it's
to?
all of them.
Possibly. To where I'm like, but isn't this like an average day at the office for you, Batman? Never stopped you from having sidekicks before. Damian is back into the fold, but that's a whole other thing.
But yeah, he's sort of relegated Jefferson to that, and no one on the team really wants to be there, especially Duke, who's still suffering from like PTSD from the stuff with Karma. Like he like gets flashes of him and everything in his head, and
That shitty, forgettable villain.
Karma may still actually be like living in Duke's head,
Oh.
or it might be just Duke's mind playing tricks on him. Not too sure, but the whole story is basically revolves around this thing called the ARC program, which was like a bunch of billionaires got together to create their own metahumans to use in wars and whatnot. And Batman ended up breaking that up, and he saved one family. And they had powers, and he put them in like a witness protection program. And someone named Ishmael hunted them down and killed the father, and the daughter got away. And we learned that the daughter's power is that the more pain she feels, the stronger she gets. And she's like on the run, and it's up to the outsiders to go and track her down. And we don't know a lot about her except her name is Sophia, and someone from the future named Caliber, who looks strangely like a Metallo, comes and like kidnaps her because he's from the future where she's led mankind to like a new dawn or something, and he needs basically a Sarah Connor sort of deal.
Right.
Yeah, and it's funny because they push the word new age of heroes.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Let us not forget this book was supposed to come out in December.
Yeah.
Actually, it got pushed back for seemingly no reason. In fact, I'm 100% sure this book was supposed to come out and coincide with the new season of Young Justice Outsiders on the app, but for some reason it didn't, and poor Brian Edward Hill got stuck just holding the bag there for a little bit.
Yeah, so it's a decent first issue. It sets up an interesting story for this team, and I'm intrigued to see what they'll do. It looks as well like, since they seem to be focusing on like Duke a little bit, I'm wondering if like maybe because like they basically like forgot about him after Metal. I wonder if this might be like a reboot of sorts for him.
Right. I there's definitely something with Duke, and I definitely want him to succeed as a character. Same with Cassandra Cain and even Black Lightning themselves. I'm a little indifferent to Katana, but man, I just wish he got a better start. It feels like he's gotten like several sour starts. Remember when they thought We Are Robin was going to be the book to launch him? I don't know why they keep trying to launch him in teams.
It always feels like they want to launch him, but like at the last minute, the 11th hour, they get cold feet some reason, and decide, we'll do something else with him later on.
It's like, Jesus Christ, if he's a young guy and you want to see him succeed, fucking send him to the goddamn Teen Titans.
Yeah. Or don't at the moment because they're running a gulag, so...
Yeah, because they're running a horrible, gulag that would get them in trouble with the UN for breaking every Geneva Convention, but, because Adam Glass is like that for whatever reason. But don't worry, other books will ignore it. So yeah, I guess what else did we have this week? Ooh, we had the new Journey into Mystery. Again, we mentioned the McElroys earlier on, and here we got the next issue of their book.
I have not read this one yet.
It's fine. It's not as good as issue 1. They make some interesting choices about time. We learn why Ares is working for the Queen of Cinders.
Okay, and why's that?
Basically, him and all the British heroes came to help out when the Malekith and his guys touched down. They all got their asses kicked, and Ares was the last one left standing, which actually creates a bit of a time problem because we saw Captain Britain and everyone else all beaten up by Malekith in issue 3, so that would mean that they came to America, got beaten up, went back to their own country, got beaten up again.
Yeah, starting to sort of fall apart there. Now, like the first couple of issues with the War of Realms, all the continuity was really tight. Now it's starting to sort of like waver a little bit.
It's really only in this book is
Mm-hmm.
the thing, and I wonder if they just let the McElroys get away with whatever they wanted because they were like celebrity writers and everything. But yeah, basically the deal is that the Queen of Cinders is like, "Yo, Ares, you love your son Phobos, yeah? But if you like die in a non-glorious death, you can't go to Elysian Fields and be with him. Well, what if I promise you, if you steal this baby, who actually contains the soul of my father, Surtur, which I actually didn't know that because I didn't read Angela, Assassin of Asgard. I will give you your warrior's death. How's that sound?"
Okay. Okay.
And I'm like, all right, not a bad reason. Again, we're bringing it back to fatherhood and children and everything. But the book doesn't continue at the point where the last issue left off, where it looked like our team was going to have a fight with Ares. Instead, they like double back and explain how Ares stole that like super souped up monster truck. And also, the team has like this weird side adventure where they find a bunch of Skrulls who have been hanging out on Earth since Secret Invasion.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and of course that leads to a fight. But of course, the Skrulls, all their references are horribly out of date, so they turn into like Jean Claude Van Damme and Andre the Giant and stuff.
That's pretty cool.
It's cute, it's funny, it's not as good as issue 1. And again, the continuity problems are starting to pile up a little here, where it's like, were you guys not as heavily edited as everyone else?
Yeah. Okay.
Because that's what it feels like.
Yeah. That's a shame.
That is a shame, but yeah, that's good. It's fun. Did you see the dad, Clint McElroy? He's actually going to be writing a Captain Marvel story soon.
I did. Yeah. Apparently, he's like a really big comic fan, and like,
Yeah,
or they all are. But yeah, that's really cool.
yeah. I hope to see more from the McElroys in the future because they have an interesting voice and obviously are very funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else did you have, Matt?
We're just sticking with the Warrior Realms. I had two other tie-ins. I had the first Strike Force issue, which was the Dark Elf Realm one,
Right.
which set up Frank Castle's team and his mission with Freya and
Right.
what
This one's a couple weeks old now.
it's about a week old.
Yeah.
But yeah, it set up basically what happened. It came out after that issue that we saw them go to Svartalheim, which is weird.
I thought it came out on the same day, which made it even weirder.
Oh, maybe it did. I'm not sure. But yeah, we find out why like Freya hires him, and we learn that's because it's Frank Castle. He'll do what needs to be done, and sort of thing. And people are scared of him and everything. And he recruits his team, which is Blade and Ghost Rider and She-Hulk and everything. And to test that they are ready for what's to come, Freya uses her magic and pits them against herself by showing them like their greatest fears. So like She-Hulk's is she has to fight Bruce Banner, the real Hulk. Blade has to fight a version of himself who's accepted that he's a vampire and become a vampire lord. Frank just has to fight the other team members and actually kill them. Which is really cool. Ghost Rider has to fight Johnny Blaze in Hell, all that sort of stuff.
Interesting.
And once they get through that, they have to fight Freya, and then they succeed, and then they go off on their mission. It was really
That we see in issue 3.
yeah. It kind of barrels through all of that to get to that.
It's very weirdly paced, isn't it? Again, I remember, what is it, like skimming through this one and being like, really? So we're getting tie-ins to all these adventures, but this issue actually sets up the mission that we see.
Yeah, the second tie-in I had was the New Agents of Atlas.
Right. See, I didn't get a chance to read this yet. I did skim through it, though, and I liked what I saw.
Yeah, it's obviously Jimmy Woo setting up his New Agents of Atlas team, which is Silk, Miss Marvel, Shang-Chi, Amadeus Cho, all these Asian heroes join his team, and it takes place just before the first issue of War of the Realms, so they are alerted to the War of the Realms, and they end up going to help, but also around the world, Malekith's forces are obviously attacking, so like in Seoul, Queen of Cinders like comes and attacks, so it's like we get to see like all like the Asian heroes we don't usually see, so like what's her name, White Fox and Arrow,
Yes, who's another.
and
A lot of the new ones they're trying to launch, yeah.
all of these people fight them. And what was really interesting as well was because just before I read this, I read a comment on my page just like, why aren't any of the like world's gods helping? Well, this issue answers that, because
Indeed it does.
We've got obviously the Queen of Cinders attacking them and all that, and in the end of it, we get the actual god of fire from Earth
Hmm.
called Pele or Tutu Pele or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Who comes and is like, right, I'm gonna fuck shit up.
That was nice. That was a pretty good last page reveal. I thought it was funny too that they sold this book as like oh, Marvel's first all Asian super team with an all Asian creative cast. It's funny that Miss Marvel is in the book because obviously Kamala Khan is of Asian descent too,
Hmm.
but she's not on the cover. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, yeah,
That was interesting. I wonder if that was like, that they didn't want to have to explain where people's like, well, she's not Asian. It's like, no, she actually, her family is from technically part of Asia too. You
yeah,
just don't think that. That's like the whole African, is it a country? Is it a continent thing that people always get into.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I definitely want to give that a look just because there's a lot of characters in that book. I'd like to see get bigger pushes like Chang-Chi, who probably will, and like Silk, who, man, Silk's book was good. People forget that it lasted as long as it did because it was actually really good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping that like something does come out of this. I don't know. Obviously, we've got that the Giant Man issue as well, which is sort of a
Yeah, yeah,
tie-in,
yeah.
but it's also its own little series.
In and of itself, which I'm all on board with that because I love the weird history of Giant Man.
Yeah.
Also, I love that new Giant Man too. They were trying to push in the Ant-Man book for a minute.
Which one? The oh, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. I know the one you're
He,
talking about.
he's the tech guy. He's like the
Yeah,
customer service guy who becomes a Giant Man. I thought
yeah,
was pretty
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Which is even funnier too because friggin' Scott Lang has to be his mentor, and Scott Lang isn't a very good mentor,
No,
and
he's
he
not.
understands that. He's like, couldn't I have the other guy, please? Nope, sorry, kid, you're stuck with me. What else did we have this week? We of course had The Batman Who Laughs. I was gonna say it's the
Yes.
penultimate issue, but it isn't. There's two more after this.
Yeah, they decided to tack on another one that spins into the Batman Superman book.
Yeah, which is, becoming more of a trend, and I'd complain about that, but I'm digging what they're laying down here.
Yeah, I'm really liking this series.
Yeah, it's one of the best Batman things on the shelf right now, and that's really saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like Batman again fighting the Batman Who Laughs and his crazy machinations and everything. The Batman Who Laughs always seems to be two steps ahead of them, no matter what they do.
Hmm. Yeah, he's fighting the Batman Who Laughs while also fighting himself, who's becoming the Batman Who Laughs.
Yes, he's getting all transformed and everything. And this book made a ton of really great allusions, as the whole series really has, to Scott Snyder's grand history of writing Batman stories.
Hmm.
Where the idea is being like, hey, in year zero, sunk your heartbeat to what is it, the friggin' electrical grid of Gotham City. So your heart's beat is one. You are one and the same, and because you're getting all twisted and messed up, Gotham itself is at the risk of getting all twisted and messed up.
Yeah, yeah. It's been doing such great things, and I like that it's also like as you said with Zia Zero, it's touching on like everything that like Scott Snyder's done in Batman. So like, oh, this issue we got like the Court of Owls stuff.
In a really fun scene.
Yeah, really, really great scene where I love that they're like, oh, we'll use like our traps on him, we'll trap him, but like of course, Batman Who Laughs is one step ahead, and he's cut off all the arms of the Talons, who are now like already zombies, but now like his
Pretty
own like
much.
creepy zombie people. But what was really cool is I like that he did all that, and he ended up fighting like the Talon, like a Talon Bruce Wayne from like another Earth. I thought that was pretty cool.
Which I think we called that in a past episode.
Yeah, yeah,
Actually, we're like, what would that version be? Oh, the Batman who became a Talon to, try and fight crime that way
yeah.
and everything. And the Batman Who Laughs is like, I really just did this for theater. I didn't have to do this, but I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to.
yeah. He did it for the laughs and the fun.
Literally. It's great too because it's a moment where Scott Snyder could have been like, oh, these other writers haven't been treating my Court of Owls good. I'm going to make them cool and awesome again and bring them back to their former glory. He's like, now they're jokes. Now I'm going to keep using them as jokes.
Yeah, and on top of all this Batman stuff as well, we're getting a really cool Jim Gordon story with the Grim Knight, and
Very,
like what the Grim Knight
very
is
much.
like hunting Jim for what his Jim did on his Earth, and he's doing
Hmm.
so by like he's got like the Robins, which are like James Gordon, that have been
Yeah,
turned into like these weird feral creatures who, I think as he puts it, they're the James that like gave in to like his inhibitions and became what he wanted to
right,
be.
right. Which I love that thought that in that weird alternate Earth, James Gordon Jr. becomes the Grim Knight's Robin.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
and that Jim gets saved by his son, who it's like, yeah, he's helping you now, but he's also still off his
Yeah, yeah,
meds.
he's still a bit crazy. He's remembering what his life used to be. That's not good.
Yeah, no, that's not good at all. And it's like, yeah, he's on your side now, but how long will that last? And then the big thing where Batman's like, "Oh, I'm so close to winning. We can activate the last laugh protocol," only for him to be like, "Wait, the Batman who laughs has beaten us literally at every turn. Why is this so easy?"
Yeah, yeah, it's like, maybe I shouldn't do it, and he like lets it count down.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was a nice touch there to be like, man, this series probably more than anything else is a masterclass in how to write all is lost moments every issue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This whole series, and it's been refreshing as well to see Batman basically like kept on his toes the entire time. Like he's never gotten like one over on the villain,
No,
whereas usually like in other Batman stories, he ends up winning halfway through the book or
mm-hmm.
something, or he's always got like some contingency plan. But here he
Yep.
doesn't.
It's fun to have Batman just throw up his hands in this straw and be like, I don't know. Even again, to bring it back to Court of Owls, where the Batman who laughs is like, and you still don't know Gotham's true secrets and what it was always meant to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, always comes back to architecture. Every Scott Snyder story is about architecture and proper city planning.
Yeah, he likes them city plannings. If you don't plan your city right, you'll get a Joker and he'll kill the whole world.
Yep. That's really the moral of the story. Get good architects
This was all
and plan
written
your
when
city
like
properly.
Scott Snyder was on a bus that got delayed in the city somewhere. He's like, God damn it.
That's what inspired all of this. Because again, all of his books, he's like, now let me tell you about the architecture for a little bit. Has anyone ever asked Scott Snyder? It's like before he became a writer, did he want to be an architect? Did he study to be an architect? Because there's so much of it in his work.
Maybe he just finds it like interesting, and I can see why he
Maybe.
would find it interesting. It is quite interesting.
It's true. I guess if I wrote a book, it would all come back to pop culture history, where it's like, so on Bewitched, they had two actors playing Darren. One was Dick York and one was Dick Sargent. And I don't know how this is going to be helpful to Batman, but it's true. But yeah, Batman Who Laughs continues to be really good, and apparently he's not going away either after this story.
Yeah, yeah, he's sticking around.
Which I think they basically already said, where he's like, "Yo, I have a serum that turns you into dark, twisted versions of yourself."
Yeah.
And I guess someone was like, "That's too good a story to just end here. Let's spin that off into something else."
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens to this character.
Most definitely. So, what else did we have, Matt?
Sticking with Batman, we had Detective Comics issue 1003.
Boy, did we! The big unmasking of the Arkham Knight, and I'm glad they unmasked her so early.
I'm glad they did it, and I'm glad it wasn't anyone I ever thought it would be.
Likewise, very happy with that reveal. I'm glad that it was someone completely new, a new character they created. And also, I think too, we joked in a past episode too, where it's like, well, if it's a lady, what will people think about that if Arkham Knight was a lady?
I was when I saw that, I'm like, oh, I can see the comments coming, but none came.
No, I know, right? Usually whenever something is revealed to be a woman. But no, this was a very like Samus Aran twist where it's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah, and it was an interesting twist because it actually gives some meaning to that name Arkham Knight, whereas when it was Jason Todd, it's like, what's the meaning behind that? Like,
Because we needed to have Knight in the name.
yeah, we needed to have Arkham because all our games are called Arkham.
Yes, exactly. It was really fun. I did see one angry comment, but this person really didn't know what they were talking about because like, how dare they make the Arkham Knight's identity, someone related to a popular character? And I'm like, whoa, 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 back up. Jeremiah Arkham has never been popular. In
and
fact,
and let's not forget as well, Jason Todd is related to a popular character. Like, if you're gonna complain about that, complain about him as well.
oh yeah, they also said, and this character is just a ripoff of the game Arkham Knight. I'm like, well, okay, technically Arkham Knight was a ripoff of Red Hood because I think you're defending the honor of a character that had no honor to begin with.
And can the same writer rip off himself?
Exactly, when Peter Tomasi wrote a bunch of that stuff. just really really stupid arguments, but again, that's neither here nor there. Cool reveal, and moreover than that, I think what this issue ultimately reveals is, hey, Peter Tomasi found a way to do an unofficial sequel to his Batman and Robin run.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Yeah, Robin's decided to stick around. He's called in sick from the gulag, um,
Hmm.
to help Batman deal with this woman, and the Arkham Knights. And I just love as well that the Arkham, like, she's only been in what 3 issues so far, and she seemed way
Yeah.
more fleshed out than the game version. And I just put
Boy,
that down to like Tomasi being able to write what he wants to write, whereas in the game, imagine he
absolutely.
was constricted to what he could do, whereas here
Oh,
he can
listen.
just go ham on it.
It is nice. And again, to a lot of people were quick to make comparisons to Lady Arkham from the Telltale games, and I'm like, yeah, good, because that was a good character idea. I'm glad we get something similar.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Most definitely. It's funny too, we mentioned the Robin Batman related stuff. It's clear that Tomasi's just like, let's never talk about what he's doing in Titans. Is that good with everyone else? Cool, because it's good with
Yeah,
me,
Titans is not canon.
as far as I'm concerned. And an editorial's a mess at this book anyway, so why not? Let's just keep things we like. For the record, I will always take Tomasi's side in a continuity debate. Well, he wrote it, so it must be the true story.
Yeah.
He did it. Oh man, you want to talk about craziness? We find out here in this issue that Arkham Knight's base of operations is in the basement of Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, where every other villain at the moment is hiding.
Apparently, there must be like a million sub basements because, again, if you read Batman 70 last week, where did he escape from? Arkham's basement. I guess he must have just walked by where the Arkham Knight was working.
Yeah, well, you see, they've got like in the Arkham like lobby. There's like a book that you fill out, and it's like a booking of the sub basements. It's like, okay, well, Bane's got this through till next year, so we'll have to go to the sub basement under that one, and we can't go to this other one because Joker might be there, and
Oh, yeah.
there's the other one. Oh, maybe Leviathan's working in that one.
Man, it gets really ridiculous too when you stop and look at a character like Dr. Hugo Strange, who is the prisoner of the Arkham Knight in this book, helping Bane in the basement of Blackgate Penitentiary in Batman, and also running the asylum in Deathstroke.
Yeah, yeah. Well, half the villains that you see in this, I think even Doctor Phosphorus, like he was in the Batman book. Like we saw him
Amazing.
for a glimpse for a minute. So like, yeah, what's going on?
Amazing. Editorial, a joke at DC right now.
Oh, is it ever? It's even funnier because like we get these characters like running stuff from under a prison in Flash as well. We recently had Trickster running stuff from under Iron Heights before it blew up.
Oh, wonderful. So, like, every villain just had the same idea, is what you're saying.
Yeah, prisons have lots of sub basements that villains can somehow access.
Clearly. Again, Matt, when are we going to start running the comic multiverse from the basement of the comic multiverse offices? I think we just need to start digging down, and next week we can have a show that takes place in a sub basement. Get some contractors on that one, because apparently no one in Gotham is like doing their due diligence anymore and be like, oh, lots of power going to the sub basement for some reason. I should probably check on that, but I won't.
And this is Batman. You'd think he'd have like something in those sub basements that's like, oh well, villains are down there. I'll just press this button and seal them in or something. Yeah, flood it or something.
Fill it with, I don't know, like X-Lax or something. There you go. That'll teach them. Now they're too embarrassed to pull off their evil plans. But yeah, Arkham Knight, Detective Comics, good stuff. Really interested to see where it's going. I mean, it's Tomasi. How can you go wrong?
Exactly. He writes a more detective Batman as well, which is really great.
Yeah, Batman actually like using like criminal sketches and everything,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
running facial scans.
Yeah, doing his detective work, earning that world's greatest detective moniker.
Indeed, he is. Now, what else did you want to talk about, Matt?
I had the Flash issue 70.
Right, this is the big beginning of the year one story. Yes.
It is, yeah. So it continues from last issue where Flash met a hooded character who had the Still Force called Steadfast, who seemingly like wanted him to remember something.
Joshua Williams is good at writing names. You notice that?
Yeah, really good. Wanted him to remember something about his past, so he like blasted him back into time, or makes this story is all like taking place in Barry's mind of him remembering, and it's basically a year one book. We see Flash as we see Barry as the CSI, and he gets like the chemicals spilt on him, stuff like that, and we see him learn his powers all by himself. Like this isn't like the TV show where he's got this whole team and
Team,
he has
yeah.
to do it all by himself, and he does it in a really cool way. So he gets he learns that he has this speed force by like he gets out of the hospital bed and suddenly he's in GCPD, then he's home, and so he realizes something's wrong with him. So he just begins like writing stuff down. It's like, okay, I can phase through stuff. I can make vibrate my body so I can pass through stuff and all that sort of stuff, and starts just writing stuff down. And he develops like his new boots because he keeps running his shoes till they basically disintegrate off his feet.
Naturally.
So he builds them from like some Wayne Tech fireproof sort of stuff. And then his last test is he wants to see how fast he can run. So he runs as fast as he can, and suddenly there's like a loud boom, and he's in the future.
Ooh.
And it's a future that the city is somehow under occupation by the Turtle and his Turtle soldiers.
Oh, cool. They brought him back.
Who are using the Still Force. And Barry, it's not long before Barry meets the future version of himself. He basically goes, Barry, God damn it, not again. What have I told you about time traveling? So yeah,
it's my first day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to him saying that. So yeah, that's like where the issue leaves up with Barry meeting future Barry.
That's a fun twist on an origin year one story with a character who can travel between time.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of this, and I'm looking forward as well to seeing them tie. It's cool because you always suspect that like, okay, starting a new story, so we're kind of leaving the Force Quest stuff behind, but Joshua Williamson always finds a way to tie it back in and tie it back into all of this stuff. It's really great.
Man, sounds like I'm missing a hell of a book in Flash. This sounds like one of the best runs Flash has had.
I know, I don't understand, like, because like, I'm really enjoying it, and I know a lot of people are, but then I'll go on like forums and stuff, and people are saying it's like the worst ever. I'm like, what the hell are you guys reading? This is amazing.
Yeah, what are you comparing it to?
Yeah.
Again, I mean, like, as far as great Flash runs, John's obviously. Wade a little before that. I can't think of any great Flash runs in between that, like must-read Flash runs.
No, I can't either.
Even then, again, as we've talked about before, Flash just occupies a really interesting place in DC Comics where he's almost always in his own little world.
Yeah, it's really strange, especially when that, like last week when we were talking about that year of the villains, like instead of that Bane stuff, it should have been stuff to do with the Flash, with Hunter Zolomon and all, because that ties back into like the forces that Scott Snyder introduced and all that sort of stuff. So like, why not tie that in? Like, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
It feels like Flash books come up with really cool ideas, like the big crossover, the Flash of Two Earths, Flashpoint and everything. They come up with cool ideas, and other books just kind of buffet take from themselves.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, because in that Flash War, they hinted at like some character coming back for like a crisis or something. And I'm like, I'm interested. Oh, what's going to happen here? This is going to happen in the Flash book, and nowhere else is going to reference it, even though it's probably going to have some really big, long-lasting effects.
I feel like I should really read it now too, especially because Joshua Williamson is going to be writing that Batman, Superman, Batman Who Laughs book, so it's probably going to be really important. He's probably going to reference shit.
Just start with issue 70, since that's basically year one, part one.
Right. Oh, but I want all the pretext though.
We'll start the Force Quest story then.
Right. Okay.
That's like issue 60 to 70.
I can't have a completionist issue one. I got a trip coming up. I got like a 5-hour plane ride in my not too distant future. I'll read it then.
Nice.
I'll just mainline Flash into my veins, and then I'll come back and be like, that was dope. It'll be weird reading it back from issue one because, like, okay, cool. I guess I can skip the button because I actually read that when it was new.
Yeah, and it doesn't really have any effects on anything. So.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Another book I read this week was, of course, Captain America issue number 10. That book not only still going strong, but one of the few, if maybe one of the only books that didn't actually get a War of Realms tie-in. It gets to keep doing what it's doing.
Yeah, which, considering that Captain America is a big part of like the teams and stuff, like you would think he would. But I guess like he's got some bigger fish to fry in his own book.
It does, and he's in prison, and I guess they kind of feel like, I don't know if Black Panther is tying into it. Kind of feels like Ta-Nehisi Coates gets a free pass on this one because they're like really interested in what he's telling.
Okay.
But yeah, Captain America still locked up in Baron Strucker's prison for the murder of General Ross, a crime he didn't commit. The Daughters of Liberty, the team put together by Sharon Carter to break him out, sends Invisible Woman in to try and talk to their mole, who we discover is Thunderball of the Wrecking Crew,
Oh, nice.
who keeps getting like these weird stealth pushes. Like he was in that Villain Illuminati book. He was the one member of the Wrecking Crew who's like, nah, man, I gotta better my life. I gotta get a better team. And then apparently he worked with the Wakandans as a scientist because he is actually a doctor, Dr. Elliot, that's his name.
Yeah.
He worked with them in Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Panther book, and now here he's the man on the inside.
Yeah, intriguing.
Very. He's working with the hero community. He's like, look, I started a riot last issue because I thought Captain America would escape, but no, he actually came back and helped the criminals from getting beaten up by the evil guards. What was I supposed to do? He's too good. And like Invisible Woman's like, God, okay, well we gotta do this now. She like shoots him up full of nanites and says, when the moment is right, this will like cause an EMP blast.
Nanomachine, son.
Nanomachines, son. It's the Daughters of Liberty, nanomachines. Oh my God, Ta-Nehisi Coates is a Metal Gear fan. Holy shit. I didn't see that. Oh, we're gonna have old Steve in the future and he's gonna have an eye patch.
Hey, that'd be awesome.
Actually, he has a shirtless cage fight with Strucker this issue that looks like it could have come from one of those fights. Like it could have been the end of Revengeance.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
It's pretty freaking nuts. The other interesting thing about it is, what is it? Alexander Lukin, who of course his wife brought him back from the dead. We haven't seen him in a couple issues, and that's because he's busy rebuilding the Kronos Corporation, which was the corporation he had during the Brubaker run.
Mm-hmm.
And the foreigner, the assassin he paid to actually kill General Ross, is all pissed at him, being like, "Yo, the Daughters of Liberty keep ruining my shit, especially this mysterious woman called Dryad keeps killing all my people. What am I supposed to do here? Look, if you don't deal with this on your end, I'm going to the cops." And Lucan's like, ooh, I don't like that. I don't like when my old assassin is talking shit. I'm going to hire new assassins to go kill him. And he hires Crossbone and Sin.
Oh, nice.
Which, here's the thing, I'm like, but wait, Lucan and his people, they hate Hydra and Hydra-affiliated people. Why would they be hiring the Red Skull's daughter and son-in-law? And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Red Skull is still alive in Lucan's mind.
Yeah.
Because when Lucan got resurrected, Red Skull got resurrected too. It's just no one knows that yet.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. So Lucan is actually working against his wife while looking like he's working with her.
Nice.
And eventually at the end of the comic, the EMP thing goes off and it's Captain America and all of the inmates trying to escape.
Awesome.
It's fun, but it's also like very heady and also smart too, because Ta-Nehisi Coates is clearly telling a story about the prison industrial complex in the United States.
Yeah.
And being like, look, it dehumanizes everyone and makes everyone into a supervillain, even if you're Captain America. That's how dehumanizing it is. And literally the face of the American prison industrial complex, I'll make an old Nazi who's getting super rich off this new system.
Yeah, I'll make an old Nazi who's made a deal with the American government.
Yeah, who is currently being puppeteered by evil Russians. An evil Russian who also has an undead Nazi inside his brain.
Yeah, everyone's Nazis.
Everyone is Nazis except for when they're Russians. It's a whole thick tapestry is what it is. But no, it's fun and it's cool and it's going places, and again, it's smart in its own way. It's a good book. It's a good read. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea because Coates is going for like a really like West Wing Aaron Sorkin type thing for it.
Like a political thriller.
It's a political thriller, and that is sometimes it's dry is what it is. Sometimes it's just people walking down hallways talking is what it is. This one had more action than that, but it also had a lot of hallway talking too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good stuff. I have two more.
Cool. I think I've got two more as well. I had Supergirl issue 30.
Oh yes, the continuation of her adventures in space as we eventually lead up to the big Rogol Zar crossover.
Yeah, so this was kind of the ending of the Killers of Krypton arc for now. She confronts Gandello, who is the big woman behind the scenes, who actually was the one who destroyed Krypton and not Rogol Zar. And she ends up fighting her, while also kind of fighting with Xander, her little partner,
right,
Cologne partner, who's Gandello's son who was hired to spy on Supergirl, but kind of turned her allegiance to Supergirl. Yeah, she ends up fighting her, and she gets like overworked and more angry, and obviously because the axe feeds off anger.
Right, you were telling me that.
She ends up using it, and she's planning on killing Gandello, but Gandello is actually saved by Crypto.
Oh, nice.
And in doing so, obviously Kara figures out like what she was about to do and realizes that killing is bad. So she ends up like melting Gandello, because Gandello's like an ice crystal being, and freezing her and turning her into glass.
But well, that's lucky.
Yeah, but before she can actually do anything else, though, the axe suddenly pulls her, Crypto, and Gandello towards a giant space battle.
I think I know where this is going.
Giant space battle from the last issue of Superman, and it's there that she meets with Superman and Superboy.
Oh, cool. So it actually picks up really right when that one left off.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's just where it ends.
Yeah, that's just where it ends, and it's like big crossover next issue. So yeah, I'm intrigued now, especially because like we'll have Bendis writing the Superman one, and I'm guessing Mark Andreyko writing the Supergirl one, which is where all the story's probably gonna be.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how is this gonna work? Because right now, Supergirl knows everything, and it's taken her multiple issues to learn this. Superman and Superboy know nothing. Is the first issue of the crossover just gonna be her like saying, "Hey, information dump for those who didn't know. Here's the actual story of Rogol Zaar that I learned."
Well, see, that's where I'm kind of worried, because the first issue is obviously going to be written by Bendis, because it's the Superman book. So I'm wondering if like they got to do that, or that we're going to have like some really shitty dialogue, like he's going to forget how people talk, and they're not going to get a chance to do that somehow.
It's just astounding how they've chosen to tell this story, isn't it?
It's so strange. It's so fucking strange.
I mean, on one hand, I'm happy Andreyko gets work, and I'm happy that the Supergirl book has been elevated to this place of importance. But at the same time, too, it's like, but Rogol Zaar came in as the big Superman villain, and you had him be a big villain, yet told us nothing about him and why we should care.
It also has me wondering and kind of worried as well, like, because like how much did Bendis influence the story, or was this all like Andreyko being allowed to do what he wants to do? Because if that's the case, will Bendis just completely ignore that and be like, no, Rogol Zaar is still the big villain?
Yeah, how did this work? Is he just like, look, Mark, I have this character called Rogol Zaar, he's super cool, he may or may not have destroyed Krypton, make it all work for me, please?
Yeah, and then completely ignore it once he realizes a writer did a better job than him.
Yeah, really. Well, let me ask you this, because you've been reading both. What questions haven't they answered yet about Rogol Zaar and the how and why, and where do you think this story is going?
They haven't answered why he has such a disdain for Kryptonians. Like, I imagine it's going to be something like the Kryptonians, because we know the Kryptonians themselves were kind of self-centered assholes. They're going to say, like, his race was enslaved by them, or... Something like that,
or like, he is a Kryptonian, he just didn't know it.
So he was tested on. He was like one of the first Doomsday
type
experiments
guys.
Or something like that. They'll do something like that.
Because he has because they imply he knew Jor-El, yes, and you were telling me he also knew Supergirl's dad as well.
Yeah, he knew Jor-El. He knew Zor-El. It's kind of like up in the arms if he actually did know Zor-El, or whether that was like Gandello like trying to like prod at Supergirl a little bit.
Right.
Because as we learned that she stole Zor-El's weapon that was used to make planets, and she reversed engineered it to destroy a planet, which is why Krypton was destroyed.
Which, again, in that Man of Steel book, because I looked it over just recently, when Rogol Zaar was going to destroy the Earth, it's just like, I have this device now, and they never explained where that device came from, how he got it. He just had it.
Yeah, Gandello stole it.
All right, and it was very confusing. I'm glad they explained one thing.
Yeah, again, that's probably something Mark Andreyko had to do. Like say, oh, we've got this device, like, how do we explain this? Oh, we'll give it to, like, Jor-El and Zor-El and all that sort of stuff.
Because that annoyed the hell out of me at the end of Man of Steel. He just showed up and he had a device. And he shouldn't have had it. It's like, well, where did he get it from? He just pulled it out of his monster butt.
Yeah.
But all right, so there's something for it. I'm glad you're here to keep me up to date on Supergirl and what's happening there, because I guess it's important now.
Yeah, well, it's important as long as Bendis deems it important.
We'll wait and see. When does that start? Does that start this week or next week? I guess it's got to start fairly soon.
I want to say next week, or this coming week in Superman issue 11. I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah, because we didn't have a Superman or an Action Comics this week. They like took a week off,
Yeah, yeah,
which is weird because like remember when that book came out every week?
yeah.
I'm just saying they've been slacking. But all right, what else did I have? Well, I guess from Super Family to Shazam Family, I had Shazam #5 this week.
I'm so behind on this book.
It's still fun. This
Yeah.
issue is a little disjointed because again, the Shazam Family book is a team book now, and they've now sent them to all the different magic realms.
Yep.
So you got Pedro and Eugene trying to, get their elite gamer skills together so they can escape the game lands.
Yep.
But obviously they pick the one guy who doesn't play video games in Pedro, so Eugene has to like train him to, to gamers rise up.
No. They live
But
in a
he's having
society.
Yeah, we live in a society here. It's like, look, Pedro, don't have a heated gamer moment because that's a lot of points that you're gonna lose.
No racial slurs.
No,
Don't talk about anyone's mother.
Please don't. The first rule of Game Lands is don't do that. But yeah, they're doing that. Darla and Freddy are in the Wildlands, and we actually learned some interesting backstory on that place, and that is that it wasn't always animal people. It used to be animals and humans together, but there was a war, and the humans ended up getting pushed out, maybe killed entirely.
So cats and dogs living in harmony, mass hysteria.
It was literally that, but also apparently as much as the animals hate humans, they hate tigers like Mr. Tawny even more because apparently the tigers sided with humanity.
Oh, okay then.
In the Great War, they were animal race traders, and because of that, tigers live as second-class citizens. They're not allowed to wear clothes or live in cities.
Oh no.
They imprison them at the zoo, and they're like, "Look, Tawny, we're gonna kill you unless you kill these children. Do your tiger thing and eat these kids." And he's like, "I don't want to eat the kids. I just want to wear pants and hats."
Yeah, and fancy suits.
And fancy suits, and they're like, "No." Actually, a fan in the comment section had something rather interesting as far as theories go, because we have like the 6 Guardians of Magic, and there's like the 7th missing one.
Mm-hmm.
And it can't be Black Adam because he's like a fallen champion, so he doesn't count anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But someone said, wouldn't it be interesting if Tawny the Tiger was actually the 7th champion of Magic? And I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty cool, actually.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, if the Tiger Man got magic powers, I actually really like that.
That'd be awesome.
Because he represents another realm, doesn't he? Because
He
again,
does.
as they say, back in the day, there was supposed to be a representative of magic from every realm.
Yeah.
I kind of dig that. And Black Adam's in the book too, and Black Adam's like, "Oh wow, Billy Batson, you really screwed the pooch on this magic realms thing, didn't you?"
Have they gone? I'm like 3 issues behind. Have they gone back to that guy who turned up at the Vasquez house, who's seemingly
No.
Billy's father?
No, not yet. But
Okay.
Savannah showed up in this again. Savannah and
Ooh.
Mr. Mind.
Nice.
They stopped Black Adam and they're like, "Look, we know you want to kill Billy Batson right now because he screwed up magic, but hey, we're starting our own society. How would you like to join?" I'm like, "Ooh, it's the Monster Society. I know what that is."
Awesome. That's cool.
So, again, Jeff Johns making it happen. That book doesn't feel like anything else at DC this day. Little disjointed, but also like I understand because he's both creating the lore of these new realms while also writing backstory for
Yeah.
a lot of these characters that didn't have backstory. Like you loved them in the movie, but guess what? They're brand new and don't have any backstories yet.
Yeah. I did hear something about like maybe this book is going to be getting delayed very soon because like with Doomsday Clock and all that sort of stuff. Like maybe coming
Right.
up sometime. Like there's a set number of issues that have already been written and done and everything, and
Right.
then after that it goes on a break or something.
That makes a lot of sense because again, I should have mentioned this in the news, but apparently, what is it? Heroes in Crisis is being delayed,
Yeah.
so it can coincide with the last issue of Doomsday Clock because apparently, fucking something happens there that's so important they need to come out at the same time.
That has me really worried because that means they probably rewrote Heroes in Crisis, like the ending of it,
And Doomsday
and
Clock
Doomsday Clock, so they somehow match up, even though they really can't.
in completely different places. And again, too, it's like, are they going to blame it on Dr. Manhattan? Or are they going to be like, Dr. Manhattan was behind it all?
Oh God, I hope not. I hope
especially
not.
especially because it's like, guys, the last like year and some change, you have completely downplayed all mention of Watchmen and Dr.
Yeah.
Manhattan.
Well, gotten rid of it all basically, and have just been like
Yeah.
calling, like, if something is meant to be related to it, you've just been saying something.
Yeah, you've been even like what is it, friggin' Bendis has completely dumped that,
Yeah,
where it's like, oh,
yeah,
Wally has to touch you to remind you of the old universe. Now Zatanna can just reach into your brain and do it.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk about Young Justice issue 5.
Do we have to?
Let's talk about it. We have to. We have to. Uh,
Uh,
I liked it. I like that. Like, it set up a mystery. Even though we know what the mystery is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Here's a mystery that you know the answer, and the answer might not even be the answer because we might
Yeah.
not even be allowed to write about it anymore.
I mean, I'm intrigued to see that the heroes like follow this mystery, but at the same time, I'm like, really just like kind of glossed over all of this stuff that like other writers like meticulously set up and was meant to be
Yep.
like this big thing, and it's like, oh, Zatanna just comes and touches you, and you learn that you've repressed all of this memory somehow.
Of the old universe, which again, it's like, on one hand, it's like, but I thought you would be happy, Joel. You got all the old Young Justice stuff back. Yeah, but I got it back in the laziest
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
That
it's
someone
just
literally just flipped a switch, said it's back now.
yeah, it's back now, so it's all good. They all remember.
They all remember, it's all back now, it's all good. It's like, well, okay, but what about all the things that they don't remember though? Does that mean everyone in the DC universe has repressed memories that they don't know about? Friggin' Roy Harper, before being dead, you're telling me he actually had a kid that he just forgot about? Did that also mean the story that she died happened?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One thing
Well, why didn't he lose his arm then if all that stuff happened?
because it's Roy Harper. No one cares.
Yeah.
No one at DC cares about him.
As Ben just says, fuck you, I just gave you what you wanted. Shut up.
What One thing I'm interested, but I know it won't for the life of me won't happen because it's too interesting. Is obviously this issue Tim gets his memories back, but Stephanie doesn't.
Yeah.
And she's left to go see her father, who's obviously the villain.
And who's been dead since Batman Eternal, but Ben just didn't know that.
Yeah. So what would be really interesting is that she doesn't get her memories back, and she begins to resent Tim for it because he's got something that, and ends up becoming kind of a villain.
Which, spoiler, kind of was, but kind of wasn't. In Batman
Yeah.
Eternal, more of an anti-hero. Can't they just be together? I guess not.
No, no, you can't have relationships. Dan DiDio said you can't have it. You got to kill them off.
Tim needs to date other people on the team, is what I'm sure they said.
Yeah, that other person probably being Ginny or Amethyst.
Can Spoiler join the new Young Justice team? Dan DiDio, no, I hate that character, and I'll never explain why.
You're lucky you got to mention that she was on the team eventually.
Yeah, really. Tim didn't get to come back because he was with her. That's why we stuck him in a corner. Yeah, that issue was just more confusing than anything. I'm like, great, so it's all a mess, is what you're saying.
It's all a mess. Those crisis reality shifts apparently are Lord Opal, somehow. I'm not sure how.
No,
But
neither am
yeah,
I.
he has kryptonite. We're never explained how he has kryptonite.
See, that of all the things in that book, that's the one I was willing to ignore, because it's like, okay, he's a rock guy. This is a rock world. Kryptonite is a rock, so maybe he could synthesize it.
He should have done a joke about that. It's like, come on, guy, you're on Gem World. Like, get it together.
Which is a very Bendis-y joke, but then it's like, but wait, how does he know that Kryptonites are weak against, or Kryptonians are weak against Kryptonite if he's only met this one?
And he knew the Kryptonian was on there, but didn't do anything about it.
No,
Like, just like let him be a farmer and have a kid, who we haven't seen again.
no. Also, you invaded Metropolis, so maybe you should have sent some of your guys with some Kryptonite in case they ran into Superman, the guy who is known for defending Metropolis.
It's so strange. It's so strange.
I mean, I guess people from Gem World have come to our world and vice versa. So
Yeah.
maybe he heard about it, like, yo, they got this guy named Superman there. He's pretty great.
Well, they kind of set that up with that part where Superboy, like that issue they did with Superboy's past, where the Star Labs and all that were testing on something from Gem World. So it kind of
Right.
implies that there were Gem people have been on Earth, and Princess Amethyst is from Earth. So
Indeed. So yeah, so there you go. You know, they got TiVo, they got Earth like cable signals. He's been working on it for that time. But yeah, that was Young Justice. Literally, this entire arc has just been just being like, look, here's questions to stuff you wanted. You're not gonna like a lot of them, but here they are. Are we over this now, Brian? Can we just tell a story now that you're done filling in holes and digging other ones? For every hole fill in, you dig two more. But yeah, that was Young Justice. I had one more this week, and it was Invaders.
oh, how's Invaders been?
Really good. Maybe one of the best minis they've done. It's a Greek tragedy with Namor. It's what depths, no pun intended, will he sink to because Charles Xavier screwed with his mind one time. Like literally, he's just doing everything wrong, man, and it gets so bad there's going to be like a world war between Atlantis and the surface world that Captain America has to actually get the Avengers involved this issue.
Okay.
So it's Invaders and Avengers, and they go to Atlantis, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna apprehend him." Why is there a big force shield around Atlantis? Oh wait, Namor actually has agents inside the United States Navy, and he's going to launch American missiles at Atlantis so they can have like a false flag operation. Be like, no, 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 they shot at us first. And that's the point where Cap's like, all right, you are completely far gone, Namor. You are unsavable. You're sick. Even at your most vicious, you would never fire at your own people, and now you're firing at your own people.
Oh no.
I have to take you down, and they literally have a fight in the street that reminded me very much of the Tony Steve fight from Civil War.
Oh, cool.
Poor Human Torch gets his head ripped off too.
Oh no, no,
Oh
not
yeah,
Jim Hammond.
yeah, he fights him first, Namor, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. They're making reference to the fact that like Namor versus Human Torch was like one of the first Marvel crossovers ever.
Oh, that's cool.
In fact, it might be the first actually. And they just have a big nasty fight in the street, and Namor like rips his head clean off.
Oh Jesus.
He's a robot. We can rebuild him. It's fine.
We have the technology.
We have the technology. I mean, it doesn't look good, but we can rebuild it. And literally, the issue ends with like the Atlanteans firing their missiles, and they like take out a whole city.
Oh no.
And it's like, and Captain America's like, how the hell am I gonna smooth this shit over? But yeah, just a real sad story about Namor and his deteriorating mental state. And it's like they show war flashbacks where you're kind of sympathetic towards him and what he's going through, and then he does stuff like that, and you're like, ooh, and my sympathy evaporates.
It's gone.
Yeah, and it's gone. It's a great flashback too in this issue because it's like the invaders, and they're like, oh, we got to do a stealth mission to get inside this German occupied town, and like Namor actually gets really self-conscious because he knows he can't blend in anywhere he goes because he has elf ears and doesn't wear shirts.
Yeah.
And like I'm like, oh, what an interesting take. Namor actually felt bad about a thing because he couldn't take part and didn't feel like everyone else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did read the first issue, but I got too far behind to like bother to catch up. But yeah, I love that they're like painting Namor as a villain, but also like a sympathetic villain. Like I can understand
Really
why
tragic.
he's doing all of this.
It's like, you know how people say it's the feel-good comic of the year? This is like one of the feel-bad comics of the year.
And it's written by a guy who's mainly like a comedian writer. Like, was it Chip Zdarsky?
Zdarsky's really showing his ability to do like dark, intense drama between this and what he does in Daredevil.
Yeah, yeah.
The man's got layers, man. He's an onion or a parfait, however you want to look at that. But yeah, that was all the books I had this week.
Yeah, awesome. I had one more, and that was Punisher issue 11.
Oh yes, this is the big finale of the war in Bagalia, Frank Castle POW story. Yes.
Yeah, so he's been blasting his way through Bagalia for the last couple of issues. He's got like
a tank.
Yeah, he's got a tank that's adorned with Punisher symbols.
Naturally.
He's got kind of a new costume, which is just like a shirt that has like a Hydra symbol with like a Punisher logo like spray painted over it. Um,
Cool.
and yeah, he's just like causing so much havoc that like Zemo's like, fuck it, peace out, leaves, ends up detonating a thermonuclear device in Bagalia and like
Oh,
blowing up the
Jesus.
entire city.
Wow.
Frank somehow survives this.
Because he's badass.
He survives this, flies to an airstrip where Zemo is leaving in like his personal jet, boards the jet and tries to take down the jet mid-flight.
Because
Just
he's
as
a
Frank,
badass.
shooting at him and all that. Like Zemo escapes and the plane crashes into the ocean and. Zemo ends up going to like his big like weird skull helicarrier thing that he has.
Gotta love it.
And Frank is presumed dead because no one knows where he is.
Oh, really? And that's the end of that story.
Yeah. They end up they're moving to the next phase of their plan, so and which involves them moving from Bagalia to New York.
Naturally, because again, the next arc is going to be apparently Frank Castle versus the Kingpin.
Yeah, so it's been such a really cool arc. I absolutely love this and how different it was from all the other Punisher stuff. It's so different, but it was also kind of the same because it was just Punisher doing what he does best.
Rosenberg walks a really good line of making the Punisher a brutal vigilante, but also like making him part of the superhero community and giving him a superhero-esque story.
Yeah, making him likable, but also at the same time realizing that like he's an insane person.
Very insane. I really want to read that next arc because, of course, Rosenberg wrote the criminally underrated Kingpin miniseries that I loved so much, and I'm looking to see how much of what he wrote there actually comes back in this.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm wondering if like cuz obviously we've got like the Punisher tie-ins as well as that new Punisher Kill Crew book coming out. I wonder if they're all going to like tie in together.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that it, Matt? Is that everything we read this week?
That is everything.
That's everything. That's everything talked about. We're almost at our hour 30 that we normally do. So, yeah, thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. It's always very much appreciated. We enjoy it so much that you make us part of your weekly routine listening to our shows. Just means the world to us, don't you know?
It does. It really does.
And of course, if you're a patron, we want to thank you even more so from the bottom of our heart. You know, you open up your wallet, you help us keep the lights on, keep the internet running. Always appreciated. You help keep the show on SoundCloud and iTunes and all those other places where people can listen to them and carry them around with them in their pocket. And you know, that's just good stuff.
It certainly is.
It sure is. And of course, hey, you know, if times are tough and, you know, you can't do that, we totally understand. The show will always be here for you too. Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same Comic Multiverse place, same Comic Multiverse channel, which is my channel. And yeah, that's just about it, Matt. Do we have anything else to say? Anything else we want to pimp out? Anything we want to shill?
Not really. I'm going to go watch Game of Thrones and go get mad at it.
Yeah, apparently everyone is. Let's see if there's another coffee cup. You know, it's funny, you know, see, now we got to have this conversation, Matt, because you started it. I haven't been mad at the last two episodes of Game of Thrones, or if I have, it's been for weird reasons. I was mad the battle was dark. I was mad that Daenerys didn't know about the spears, even though she clearly was supposed to see that. I don't know what they're going to do next week.
I just hope that pirate Bam Margera dies.
Oh, yeah, you're on. You keep saying he looks like Pirate
He does. Look at him and then look at Bam Margera. They're the same person.
Hey everyone, I'm your great Shaw of the Iron Islands, and this is Jackass. Today we call this Dragon Spearing.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to hating this episode.
Don't worry, if it's all bad in a couple years, we'll have Game of Thrones Kai or Game of Thrones Brotherhood.
Can you really condense it more than it already is?
Did you hear the conspiracy theory that the reason that George R.R. Martin is waiting to release that new book is because he's actually waiting to see the reaction to the TV show and what they hate and to try and do it differently in the book?
Oh, no.
I'm like, that's a ridiculous conspiracy theory. I also believe it.
I believe it too.
So on that note, everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening, and we always appreciate it. We'll be back again next week. Until then, everyone, I have been Joel.
I'm Matt.
Comic Multiverse out, everybody.
See ya.